and welcome to episode number 2, season 2 of
What's brewing, sis?
I'm Shelly.
I'm Bianca.
And I'm Deonna, and here we come together to serve the brew.
Back like we never left.
Back. So we are back. We're still in isolation. Just for a couple more weeks, but we'll be right back at it, back together at the table. But until then, we're still here.
We are still here.
In the new year.
Yes.
So our last episode was New Year's, talking about resolutions, whether you have one, whether you don't, goals, long-term goals, short-term goals. How did you guys feel about that episode?
Really, really good. I thought it was very insightful. Definitely want to stay focused, and maybe I can use that and keep watching it, every month at the end of every month to see if I'm keeping on track.
Yeah, it was good. Yep, and we got dressed up, so that's always fun. Did our wine / punch / ginger ale toast,
Yeah, kitty drinks. But yes, I think I realized my secret love of getting all dolled up. And I think focus is one of the keys for the new year. Yeah. My acronym for this year is PIMP, but PMP, protecting my peace, prosperity, personal health, personal finances. So I'm going to be pimping in 2023, but not that kind of pimping.
I'm glad. That sounds good. That's one. I like acronyms and keeping that behind your mind because you can keep repeating it to yourself, to make sure that you are protecting your peace.
Yeah, which is very, 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 very important in terms of, protecting your peace. If that entails getting a change of scenery sometime, creating hard boundaries with people and even work, ensuring you have proper work-life balance. Yes. All of those things are important.
Balance is definitely important. So today's episode is
embrace revelation. So we're going to talk about, how we tap into God's plan over our plan, or make sure our plans align with God's plan, and just explore, the topic of revelation as a whole. But before we get into that, as always, we want to start off with some icebreakers, some fun icebreaker questions. And of course, we invite the brew crew to answer as well. We'd like to know how these questions resonate with you. So the first question is, what skill or talent would you most like to learn?
What skill or talent would I most like to learn?
Have so many. I think for me, I always wanted to learn to play an instrument.
Any particular instrument? Any particular instrument?
I think I want to learn the guitar.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I think I want to learn. I can see myself just,
rocking it out
to myself. I also want to learn Spanish. I took a few classes in high school and maybe one in college. But I know a few words here and there, but I want to be more fluent. And my dream goal is to be able to dance.
So you have to dance according to however you dance. Dance like nobody's watching.
Mm-hmm.
I do that. I actually have a sign over here, and it says, "Trust me, you can dance," and it's signed by wine. So when I have wine that I can dance. So there's that.
Good. For me, I want to learn another language, specifically French. So I do want to go to Paris. So that's a language and then my last name is LaRue. So, people always assume that I do know how to speak French, but I don't. So speaking French and learning how to swim.
Those are good.
I want to take And
I like
freely swim in the ocean, but I do want to learn how to swim so I can be in a pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to learn how to swim. I would like to learn how to play an instrument as well. I think I was thinking about that. I'm like, I like a lot of instruments, but I think it would be cool to learn to play like the keyboard and piano.
We can start a band.
Yeah, we could be a band. Shelly, you'll be the singer.
I also wouldn't mind learning to play the violin. So there's that. But
Did you ever play the violin?
I never played the violin, so I wanted to play the violin, but my mother was like, "You don't want to play the violin. The violin's boring." So she basically made me pick something else. But yeah, I always wanted.
What did you pick?
Oh, I played the clarinet.
Okay.
Yeah, and I played in grade school and high school, but the college marching band scene is like really intense. So it's like, even though it's a great vehicle and people get scholarships for it and all that, it wasn't. I decided not to do that. But yeah. So yes, learning to swim, learning to play an instrument. What was Bianca's other one? What did you say, Bianca?
Language, learn Spanish.
Oh yeah. I would like to learn a few languages, but I guess top of mind would be to learn Swahili. So, like when I'm at functions with my husband, people will walk up to me and assume that I know Swahili. So they always start talking to me, and then I either like just look at them like, "Yeah, I don't know what you're saying," or I say, I don't speak Swahili," and then they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." But so yeah, it would be nice if I could just start talking back. I know a few phrases, but not enough. Next question. Would you rather watch a movie on your TV at home or on the big screen in the theater, and why?
It all depends on the movie. Like big action movies like Black Panther. I love seeing those type of movies in the theater because everybody has their own opinion. And when we did see Black Panther in the movie theater, just I don't know, being there with everybody made it better. People were like expressing outwardly how they felt about certain pieces of the movie. So that was fun. But like if it's like a romantic type of movie, I like to watch those at home in the comforts of my own home.
Yeah, that actually was gonna be my answer as well. I think I used to be a person that went to the movies probably every month. Um but now I'm like, I'll wait till it comes on video, or I can watch it at home because I can get on my reclining couch. I love this couch so much. I get on my reclining couch. I can have my snacks. I don't have to sneak stuff in because I'm a snack sneaker. I'm gonna be honest. I know this isn't right, but I would go buy my snacks from Walmart, put it in my purse, sneak it in, but in the comforts of my own home, I don't have to sneak stuff. But like, yeah, big action movies like Black Panther and what was the other one with the guy Keanu Reeves? I love seeing that in the theaters.
The Matrix?
No, not the Matrix. He was married and his wife and his dog was
John something.
John Wick. John Wick, yeah.
Yeah.
I love seeing movies like that in theaters. So
John Wick is a good series, like that whole movie.
Yeah.
That's really good. I like that.
Yeah, I don't go to the movies as nearly as much as I used to. But I do enjoy the theater experience. It doesn't necessarily have to be an action movie. If it's just a movie that I really want to see, and I have gone to the movies by myself, I like enjoying being at the movies by myself too, especially if it's something that most people don't want to see. Like I know I went and saw that movie God Is Real when the little boy like fell through the water and he fell through a like an icy lake or whatever, and he was in a coma, and he's he or Heaven Is Real, I think the name of it is, and he like was having this like in between life and death experience or whatever. But yeah, I think nobody wanted to see that but me, so I just saw by myself, but it was really good.
I was like, I don't even know what movies you talking about.
I always see those movies on YouTube. They'll show like the depending upon like what you watch on YouTube, YouTube will show you those type of things. I like to watch a lot of church sermons, but I always see movies like that, and I find them extremely enjoyable because it's like you kind of get an idea of what it's like to, kind of choose whether it's like I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
heaven or I'm staying here on earth, and get a better understanding of like the whys, on earth.
Mm-hmm.
Our next question. What is your idea of a great day?
For me, it's waking up to a clean home,
Mm-hmm.
having the day off, so no work, per se. At some point, designing, spending time with God, and spending time with my daughter, chopping it up with my parents.
Sorry,
Maybe
guys, my camera's falling, so if it
I
looks like
see.
I'm all in it.
maybe a chat here or two with my brothers who drive me crazy. A call with you guys, and then a massage to end it all. Sounds like a pretty good day to me.
So, Bianca, what's your perfect day like?
I hate, Shelly said waking up to a clean house, and I was like, oh, I hate to sound boring, but when my house is clean and the candles are lit, and it's just really quiet, and it has to be like spring or summertime because I could go out in my backyard with my cup of coffee and just hold it and drink coffee, sitting outside and letting my dog run around. And then I get to go shopping and spend as much money as I want, but there aren't any lines, so I don't have to wait, and also a massage too.
Yeah.
And
So
get
yeah,
my nails done.
my idea of a good day is definitely waking up on a warm day. So yeah, spring or summer. Um, Clean house. Everybody's like in their rightful place and just being peaceful and calm. Um, Definitely looks like a spa day to me. Like a whole spa day. Uh like when was that? Was it my birthday, I think? I don't know. Yeah, no. It was you guys along with my other family and friends gave me a gift certificate. So I had like the Queen of the Spa package. I got the facial, the massage, the time in the jacuzzi, the sauna, like the whole 4 or 5 hours at the spa. That's my kind
Definitely
of
get
day.
wonder.
I love that spot. I'm just gonna chime in. We haven't been since, was it Shelly's birthday or my birthday? One of our birthdays we went.
Mine.
Yours.
Mhm.
I love that spot.
Me too.
Yeah. Yeah,
Smells
yeah.
good in there. I love getting their facials. The facials has become my thing. Like I would actually prefer facial over a massage, but shoot if I can just do both. Do both.
Girl. Speaking
Um,
into existence, we're doing both.
we're gonna do both.
So,
Yeah, very very soon. I'm like every big celebration that happens, we should do like something to kind of treat ourselves because that good thing happened. Um,
mm,
but yeah, if we could get a facial, I'm
I
like,
still want to check out that other spa that I haven't been to yet.
what
I
spot?
still want to check out that other spa that we haven't been to yet, the King Spa, whatever. The one that's
Oh,
24
that
hours.
nasty.
Bianca feels like it sounds nasty because 24 hours. Like, why does that mean it's a nasty place? Because it's open 24 hours. But they have an even more extensive
I
menu
mean,
of services
tell me
than
this. Who's getting spa services at 2 a.m.? Just
what if you work
I
overnight?
don't know. Maybe people who work second shift. I don't know.
Mhm.
it just sounds suspects, but okay.
I mean, and as long as you don't worry about what they do in the next room, just get your spot. So,
I'll jump in and
yeah.
ask a question. If you had to lose one of your senses, which one would you want to lose?
Oh, that's a
Oh,
good
that
one.
is one of the questions, actually.
Yeah,
Um, so
like it.
what?
For me, after having COVID and losing my sense of taste for a couple of days, maybe for like a week, I think I lost mine. I kept trying to like eat super sour things to get it back. Like, let me just get some lemon and see if I could get it, see if I could taste it. And I was so frustrated that I had no taste. So taste for me would have to be one that now that I kind of know the experience, I could do it again. Cause then I was like, I started feeling like, well, if I can't taste nothing, may as well eat these grapes. So that would be my answer.
So you would choose to lose it forever?
Yeah. It made me eat healthier things.
I was like, hey, yeah, it might be helpful for weight management not to be able to taste.
Yeah, because I'm
And I
like,
want
well,
to be able to see and hear.
yeah, I'm like, if
And
I can't taste the strawberry, a cake, or if I can't taste the chocolate, then I might as well
right.
not even eat it.
So let me ask this question. What are all the senses? Hear,
A
see,
sight,
taste, smell.
taste. So say it again, Bianca.
Hear, see, taste, smell,
Touch,
touch.
Touch.
being able to
Yeah,
feel.
that's five. How many are there? Six or five?
5.
Five. Okay, that's how.
I think, yeah, I guess it has to be taste because I need to see and hear. And touch is pretty important.
It is. It's like,
But not being able to taste is kind of annoying because it's like, I don't know if this is too saucy, if I should be eating it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but you can see it, so you can kind of see what you're eating too. And if it's something healthy, like it truly like flipped my mind. I'm like, I literally was like, well, if I can't taste, then whatever. I might as well just eat something. And
mm-hmm.
I was reading like different things that you can do to kind of get your sense of taste back. And it was like grapes and a lot of fruit, lemon, things like that. And then some people have literally like lost their sense of taste, since they've had COVID and never got it back. So
Yeah.
I just was like, if I can't taste it, might as well just eat something healthy.
I think I'll go with taste too. I actually saw a video online. This person made like a drink. I want to say they were boiling ginger root and
Mhm.
lemon and some other things together,
Yeah.
and that helped them get their sense of taste back after COVID. I don't know how if it works for everyone, but you're still without your taste. This may be something you want to try.
For sure.
Yep. So our next question is, what about becoming an adult caught you completely off guard?
Bills. The I'm sorry, excuse me, I cursed. Bills. So when I became a mini adult in my late teens, early 20s, I used to be excited about paying bills. I don't know if this sounds nuts, but getting mail in my name and I like had to pay it was like, oh, I'm an adult now. I'm so grown up. But then when you start getting more than mugs, it's like, ugh, this is gross.
Gross. Hey. Yes, that bills for sure, and also that like nobody cares. Like, you're an adult, get it together.
It's like
Like,
you
no,
get
there's
over it.
no crying in adulting. There is no crying in adulting. It's like,
There's
yes,
crying, but it's kind of like cry on your own
crying
time.
and nobody gonna do nothing about it. Let's go do what you gotta do. Moving on. Day number 6. And that it's like a vicious cycle of getting up with the routine and going to work, and nobody that necessarily answer to, so you have to be responsible for doing these things on your own. Not that that was necessarily a shock, but definitely eye opening. Like, nobody.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it kind of caught me off guard the first time I like just encountered people that were mean or spiteful for no reason, or just
Mhm.
made up something in their head about me that was like, what? Like, where'd you get that from? Like in the workplace. I remember this lady just decided she didn't like me. I don't think I ever even had a conversation with her, but she just didn't like the idea of me for whatever reason. And I got recognized at work for something, and she was like, "Of course, she young, she don't have no responsibility, she don't have nothing else to do, but like be here on time and be all this, stellar employee stuff. Plus, her mama work here. It was just like just evilness for no reason.
That's
So
not nice. Yeah, that's the worst thing. I think that happened to me though much younger in high school. People didn't like you for whatever reason. There are people that I still like. I wonder why they didn't like me, growing up or whatever.
yeah, I think I experienced that in high school too, but I guess I expected more out of adults.
Girl, probably got worse.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Right?
those high
I was
schoolers, girl,
expecting
like
like
the dog.
mature adulthood,
Mm-mm. People
no.
people have their reasons, for not liking you. I never really care about, like I care about why, just so I can get a better gist of like what I could have possibly did to make this person not like me, but not so much to like do my research. Sometimes when it comes to people, and I think if you're an adult and you don't like somebody and you're gonna treat that person wrong, have enough respect to maybe tell them exactly what they did
Right,
to
right,
hurt you. And if not, don't just be mean for any reason. Like that's
right.
kind of rude.
I was like, I didn't even realize this person really existed. I mean, we, worked in the same place, but I was like, I hadn't paid enough attention to her to form an opinion about her one way or the other. So I was just like,
Mhm.
kind of like, why do you have all this
Her
venom
reason was
towards
probably
me?
very, very dumb.
Yeah. So, what luxury is totally worth the price to you?
Luxury hotel room.
Ooh.
Being in a very nice hotel
I
room
agree.
is always worth it.
Mhm. It is.
Yeah, so like I cannot. I feel like if I'm staying at a hotel, I at least want to feel like um, it's an experience, not a experience a
Yeah.
bad one where I'm feeling like, oh my God, is something gonna bite me up in here?
No,
So
yeah, no. You
Mm-mm.
make sure nothing's gonna bite us when we go.
I'm
When
like,
we
cause I mean, even at a top notch hotel or resort, there could be an issue. I've seen it happen. So
yes, I was
I've
very
didn't
recently.
happen to me, but I remember I think it was either the first or the second time that I went like to an island destination. This lady came to the front desk.
What were you gonna say, Bianca?
No, I was gonna say, what was your answer?
I'm so say actually the same thing. I love a good hotel, but like one that offers a whole nine experience, like one that gives you the massage and you get the breakfast in bed, and you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you get a
all the
beautiful
things like
view.
yeah.
Yes. And but Deanna, I was gonna say too, because your internet was going in and out. But there is a kit that you could buy that comes with the black light, so you can see the spots on
Hmm.
this. It comes with, of course, any like bug spray. But they also have this new device where you can tell if a camera is in your room. So we gotta get you the
Hmm.
kit, girl, when we go. When
Yeah,
we
I
go.
need the kid. But then I probably would also be like so disgusted with the black light because
I
I
know.
mean, they say they don't wash the comforters and all that, the carpet, all
That's
that. It would probably
terrible.
just
That's not
be
true
like,
for every hotel.
yeah.
I've watched quite a few exposés, and it's very unfortunate. And I think that if I had the kid, I would disgust myself because
Yeah,
any
Yeah,
little thing would
right now.
it would
yeah,
just
that
make me
that black
nauseous.
light probably had a whole room lit up. We'd be like, nah, I gotta go.
I'm
So,
already like
this
side.
person, they did the video. They went to the highest price hotel in LA, and they went to the lowest price hotel in LA. And in the lowest price, of course, when they used the black light, they found all the spots. But in the luxury hotel, it was the London in
Hmm.
Los Angeles, and they didn't find anything. They didn't find any
Right.
messy stuff. So I think you should, Gary. You should want to know. They should be treated to the highest extent for they charge to be in there. You're paying your money. You should know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You can always ask for another room if that one is not up to par.
And I
Yeah.
have, and I will, and I do. One of the hotels we stayed at in Louisiana, I was like, come on. And they had like those little signs and stickers and stuff all over the room saying like they did extra sanitation because of COVID. But there was like candy on the floor, crumbs. I'm like, obviously whoever was in the room before us had kids. So I don't know how the staff felt like they could put these extra cleanliness signs all over the place. And it was like food left around. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna need another room.
Airbnbs now as opposed to hotel room. What was the nicest place that you guys have ever stayed in? And I'm still here,
place
but
I ever stayed in. That's a great question. I have to think of all the places I've stayed. I think the nicest place I stayed has to be the Airbnb
The one you was talking about
in Miami.
Yeah. South Beach.
Biscayne Points. Biscayne Bay, one of those.
Yeah. I stayed at a really nice hotel, spa resort in Aruba, the Occidental, and Iberostar was pretty good in Jamaica. Yeah. I'd say those two.
mine was an Airbnb. It was in Panama City Beach, Florida. Beautiful. Like it was so many rooms. They had the jacuzzi tub. And then they were, I think it was like a 3-bedroom Airbnb, but it was right on the beach. So that one was so pretty and it was so nice.
Girl, you got me wanting to get to the beach. We didn't have this talk about the beach
Yeah,
the past few episodes.
we're gonna plan that trip. We going. Y'all ain't going. So we gotta come on and plan that trip for sure.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'll make this our last question because it's gone quite some time now. Which is, if you could start a charity organization, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I would definitely want to do something for teen moms.
That's good.
I've said before that I wanted to start a school for teen parents, moms and dads, where parents in classes will be incorporated and the kids could attend the school with the parents. So they'll be in daycare or kindergarten or whatever grade they're in. And the parents could take parenting classes. And I would definitely want young men in there as well, not just teen moms, but also teen dads, because a lot of teen fathers grew up, with the one parent household, so they may not know the other side, whether they lived primarily with dad or primarily with mom. I want the guys to be able to be the best dads they could be, and I want the moms to be the best moms they could be. So I want to start something for teen parents.
I love that. 2 for me, I would do one would be for the homeless. I feel like nobody in the United States or anywhere in the world should be hungry. So I would do something for the homeless, and then I would also do something for single moms, specifically that don't have the necessary resources to find babysitters, to have an outlet, just talk to other single moms, share ideas on how to kind of, especially when you have multiple children or just one child, to kind of navigate through, safe places to take your kids so you can still be able to work,
Mm-hmm.
provide that for single parents. And I think, there's a need.
I like that. Can I be your co-chair? I like that idea as well, because I feel like when you're a teen, I'm sorry, not a teen parent, but a single parent, if you make too much money, you don't get assistance.
Yeah.
But if you don't make enough money, you get assistance, but then you're still in a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
Because you don't have enough income. So I actually walked that fine line as a single mom for some point where it was like, once I got to $10 an hour, I was no longer qualified to get daycare assistance. And I'm like, so what am I supposed to do with $10 an hour paying for daycare and having to pay bills? There's no way I could survive, but I made it.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, but it does put people in an awkward space. Like it's almost like, well, then I need to stay below the threshold because I make
Mm-hmm.
$1 above the threshold or whatever. It doesn't account for all the expenses that I'm now fully responsible for. I think there needs to be a better system on how that works.
Yeah.
But so I have a few charity ideas, but one would be for youth. Like I was kind of thinking like just girls, but maybe girls and boys, but maybe have girls and boys somewhat divided, but to teach them financial literacy and career pathing and broaden their idea of all the careers that are out there. Because I think, people tend to look at just like doctor, lawyer, uh, professional athlete or whatever. But there's so many careers that can pay well, that are beyond just those that we broadly hear about.
For sure.
Um, so something like that. Then I also would like to have a charity around um, like female empowerment. I think again, starting with young women, but really teaching girls and young women how to just navigate powerful play, like power plays, in whether it be in business, or other crucial activities and relationships to prepare you for success. So kind of along the same lines, but a little different.
Okay.
Yeah. Like that a lot.
All right, so now we're gonna move on to our topic for today, and we're gonna, talk about the revelation of God's will for our lives, um, how we figure out what our purpose here is on earth, how we walk in purpose, and how we make sure that we stay aligned with God's purpose and plan. So, just to start that off, what do you think, or what has been your experience? How do you hear from God, or how do you feel like God reveals Himself to you?
I don't know yet. I think we had an episode not too long ago where I expressed, or either I said it in my head, either way,
Mm-hmm.
that I hear people say God speaks to them, and I'm like, well, when is God speaking to me? So I think that when I have a lot of time to myself and I'm just thinking,
Mm-hmm.
I think that must be when God is speaking to me, because I have a lot of time to be quiet and just sit and think. So I think that's when my revelations come.
Yeah, I agree. I think he definitely speaks to me when, things are quiet, and it's been something that I've had to pray on, because I often heard people say a lot like, God told me to do X, Y, and Z.
Hmm.
I don't think God necessarily told me. Like looking back on certain situations, I was talking to a friend earlier today and explaining to her how a relationship that I was in for 8 years caused me to say, I'm never doing this again. And I think for a long period of time, I would always say, well, why did I go through the 8 years? And I was like, sometimes it's kind of like to go through it to say I'm never going to be in this spot again. And I feel like that to me is my answer from God. You know what I mean? Like when you ask questions about things that you've been through in your life and you're looking for some reason of why these things happened, I think sometimes the answers that you get are the answers that come from God. So I
Wow.
pray often that I hear him more clear. But what a pastor told me before is like to truly hear God, you have to ask. You have to ask
Mm-hmm.
to hear. You know, from
Yeah,
Him.
yeah. So that can come through prayer and meditation. You know, when we pray, we're talking to God, but then we also got to be still and listen. Um,
Mhm.
Also through scripture, like you know, We could all read the same scripture and get something different out of it. But what we get out of it is what God intended, for the individual. There's no necessarily
So beautiful to me.
right or wrong, but it could be that there's many things in one scripture. So you take what's relevant to you. I'm gonna take what's relevant to me, and but a more textbook answer on how God reveals Himself would be God has revealed Himself to us in the glorious of His creation, the earth and everything that's therein. Um, if you are one who lends to believe that that's how the earth it was formed by God speaking, let there be light, and there was light, and the 7 days of the creation of the world, as written in the Bible. Also, God reveals Himself in the written word. So, through the scriptures, when we read the Bible, we should look at it as not just something that was written, thousands of years ago, but it still is relevant. There's like really nothing new under the sun. Every type of situation, circumstance, scandal, it's all there. Like, um, the Bible is not just a book of instruction, but it has that in it too. But it also has, stories. There's murder, sex, mayhem. It's all there. So it's like being able to see how the stories or the passages of the Bible are relevant and relate to the world that we live in today, and then also in our personal experience when we seek God. So how do we seek God? Through prayer, through reading the Bible, through even attaching ourselves to others who we deem to be sound spiritual counselors. Others who have maybe been maybe more mature or in the walking in their spiritual gifts or whatever for a longer period of time. We can also glean from them, learn from them. They may be able to help us break some things down that we don't fully understand. And then other supplemental readings as well, like books and things written by like we did the Crazy Faith book written by Michael Todd. But people that are seasoned and write books, sharing their stories and experiences, all of these things, and just help us to learn and grow, to be in tune with the things of God. But God is ever present and all around us. So I think sometimes too, just being observant, and reflective, like you said, when you think
So
about
I
a
want to interrupt real
circumstance
quick.
or situation that you're in.
I want to
Go ahead.
bring it less higher level and more personal. Have you guys ever had a
Mm-hmm.
personal reveal? Like a personal, man, this is a stamp that God put on it for me
Yeah,
reveal.
several.
Quite,
Um,
quite often, yeah. Mm-hmm.
several for me where it's kind of like a gosh, I see what you were trying to show me or tell me, and those moments it literally like stops me. I'm trying to think of one that I want to share.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
That's not too crazy personal,
Personal, yeah.
but I think even relationships that haven't worked out in my life, not necessarily even romantic relationships that just haven't worked, friendships, um that didn't work out. I tend to do a lot of reflecting back, like why was that situation necessary for me in my life? What did I take from it? What can I learn from? What did I do wrong? Even if I wasn't necessarily the wronger, what did I do? To impact this situation. Um, so that would for me would be one that I could kind of to answer the question say.
Yeah. I think I've had some personal reveals with like um one that I care to share is like when I feel like I was going through a little bit of a depression when my husband passed. And it was times that I could feel myself sliding, like just I'm just gonna go ahead and set up a tent and get real comfortable in this depression, real good. And I'll have moments where it's like, nah, you about to get up, you about to get out of this house, you're about to go to the store, to the Deonna house, you about to go somewhere, you about to get up, no, you can't camp out here, fold the tent up, get up, go. Yeah. So I feel like a lot of times that would be like, kind of God speaking to me like, nah, we ain't about to do that. Not today. So, like those personal reveals and like, how to manage, you know, because that was a rough time. But I felt like it was like, okay. And then little nuggets kept happening. It's like, okay, you're not gonna give up on your dreams of, owning a home and living life. You're gonna do all these things, get up and go. So
So I do have one. Mine's is for sure like when I would be down to a very little. Sometimes it's like waiting for that next paycheck to come. And I'm like, oh, how are we gonna get from point A to point B? We got everything that we have, so it's no need to panic. But it's like a design will come through. Like somebody told somebody that I can design something from them. But that happens more so often now where I don't have to worry about that, waiting for that next paycheck to come. So that's my revelation that God, like design is something that I should be doing. Because it's like I didn't go and ask anybody or say anything about designing something. And somebody would be like, "Oh yeah, do you know my friend, this person sent me your way." So yeah, that for me.
Yeah, I could say similar to that, Shelly. There's definitely been times where I was like, you can only carry one and cross out your two so many different ways when you got, multiple expenses to pay. And like I've had times in the past where I've been laid off work or whatever. And I remember clearly one time I was like really trying to figure it out and see how I could, as they say, rob Peter to pay Paul. And then I just literally stopped, excuse me, stopped what I was doing. I like laid back on my bed with my head up to the ceiling, and I just started laughing like, girl, you are being ridiculous. You can't squeeze blood from a turnip. Like you gonna pay what you gonna pay. What you not gonna pay, gonna get paid. And things are gonna fall into place. And when I stopped, trying to figure it out myself or worrying about it or stressing about it, I had to remind myself. I say it often now, but at that time, I had to remind myself to, be anxious for nothing, all things in prayer, supplication, make your requests known to God. He already know what's going on anyway. Just have conversation like, look, these, I got more bills than money. And, and it was like, soon after that, I had already been like applying for jobs and stuff like that. But I also remember I was at church, and this lady who was a guest speaker or whatever, she said, what you need, she's like, what you need is not a lot. Like it's not, to you it feel like it's a big deal, it's a major thing because you feel like your back is against the wall. But she was like, that's easy. God got you. You're going to be fine. And I was like, okay, girl, I was like, and she didn't know that I had that experience where I was like, you know what, I give up. And it was like soon after that, I randomly got a call like, hey, you about to get this job. And I had no idea that job was going to end up leading to the career that I'm in now. But it's like, yeah, I've been sold out. I've been trusting, like whatever happens, even if it's not in my plans, God has a bigger plan, and it's all gonna be to the good. So
God's plan. Sometimes
yeah.
that plan, I'd be like, okay, God, look, you didn't consult me. I don't know. Where
He
you going
doesn't
with
need
this?
to. And that's the amazing thing. Like he really doesn't. Like I say, I post it often on Facebook. Like God don't need your help. Like He
Mm-mm.
don't need you to do anything. Sit there,
Mm-mm.
relax, and wait. Like the don't be anxious thing for me. I have a friend that tells me that often, and I do. Like I have to slow walk myself. Like, look, I'm trying to get ahead of God. Like, what
Mm-hmm.
can I do that He can't? And
Right.
what mountain can I move that He can't? I can't move any mountains. He can move them all. So for me, it's like, girl, sit down somewhere and absolutely relax. And I find when I do that, the situation always works out. And how
Yep.
many
Yeah.
times have I heard my mom say, and I'm sure your moms have said to you on occasions like, sit down, relax. Like this is your situation. This is what you're dealing with, but you will be fine. Like you will totally be fine.
Yeah. And I'm like, things always have a way of working themselves out. Like they always do. But I think it aligns with either we win or we win, period. You know.
Yes.
So I'm
Absolutely.
like, if you really like, I think you have to believe what you say, you know, and say what you believe. So that's why you also need to be careful about what you say. Because if you say things like, I'm never going to get out of this, I'm going to be stuck like this forever, or I'm never going to achieve all these things, like sabotaging your own success. So
That's facts.
that's why we do have to be mindful of the things that we say. And, it's good to practice affirming things,
Yeah.
I
we
used
got
to
to
be
get,
that person. I
yeah.
used to be it's not gonna work out for me. Every time I try stuff, things go
Mm-hmm.
wrong. Like I might as well not even try because it's never gonna happen to me. I always have bad luck.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what is the point of me even giving energy to this?
Yeah.
Like, what is the point of me even saying these things to myself? Because then now you have started this whole internal trauma to yourself by
Mm-hmm.
doing that. At least that's what happened to me. Because like,
Yeah, you
you know,
delay your process, block your
mm-hmm.
blessings, all those.
Yeah.
The good thing is that you are outwardly saying it so other people can hear it. Imagine those people who don't say it. Because I think I was a closet, I can, or I'm never gonna, get it.
Mm-hmm.
Heard it, so no one could check me on it until I
Mhm.
started saying it out loud to other people and realized that, you know,
Yeah, I used to laugh with Bianca because she would be like, "Oh my, you make me sick. You're always the glass is half full," and I'm like, "Girl, it's not half full. It's full. It's running over. It's like," and she like, "Oh my god," but I like, it. I think what we see like on the surface is always an illusion of the what's really lies below the surface, or the bigger broader picture. And of course, if the opposition can get us to focus on whatever's happening now that's an annoyance,
mm-hmm.
then you and get you to stray away from the bigger picture, your long-term goal or whatever, um then you allow doubt to creep in, and it's really just a form of, not only are you doubting yourself, but you're doubting, God's ability to take you to the
Right.
next level.
And that's
So
that's that's real. To
yeah.
doubt him, um, is basically saying, I can't do nothing about it, and you can't either. I think
Mhm.
sometimes, and who am I to say what God thinks, But I think sometimes it's like I'm gonna show you better than I can tell you. Now I gotta take you on this journey of me showing you, or me um proving to you, that these things can happen in your lives. Like it doesn't have to go that way. uh,
Mm-mm.
but yeah, I think it's a matter of, like, you have to let go and completely trust him, and that's easier said than done, because that's a kind of a process that I'm going through right now, and I think I'm at my end scope where I really do feel like I trust God, nor am I'm not afraid to say um that I struggle with that. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? because like to say that you trust something that's a being that you can't see, you can't hear, the way that you people think of hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's a lot. That's a lot for someone to be able to adjust to when they haven't studied the Bible,
Mm-hmm.
talk to people who are in the know about God. So
Yeah, it's like it's just like anything else. I think Michael Todd might make this reference. Other spiritual leaders have as well. Like your faith is like a muscle. If you don't
yeah,
work the muscle, you're not going to see any strength. So if you don't, do things that help you to expand your faith or trust and believe in the things, the promises of God, or even to know what those things are, you
yeah,
have to, spend time. You have to spend time reading the Bible, other spiritual material, aligning yourself with like-minded people. You know, um, Unfortunately, it's not gonna just be like instant download.
hmm
It's a process.
it
But you
is.
also have to allow yourself the opportunity to be like, okay, I don't know everything. I'm not going to do everything right. I'm not going to get it right. But the goodness is, although I might be wishy washy, I might struggle in my faith day to day, God is the same. He hasn't changed. The words are
Mhm.
there. It's not that I'm waiting on God, it's God waiting on me to catch up. So,
Yes,
and whenever that is, so some things could happen a lot quicker if we just plug in a lot sooner. But okay, if you want to, take the longer route, it might be more sustainable because if some things if it was just given to you right away, you might take it for granted and misuse it. But some of the
that
things that
I mean,
take longer, you may have a deeper appreciation for.
absolutely.
Um,
I agree with that.
That
you
that's
know,
that's something. That's the story of my life when it comes to our business. I'm going to appreciate it so much more because of all the hard work that we've gotten to get there.
yeah.
I and I mean, I don't want to just. I honestly don't want it to just be handed to us.
Mhm.
Feel like there's something still left that he's still trying to show us it, or we would have had the keys already. So I
Yeah.
take that.
Yeah, no, I'm okay. I'm okay with the process. Like either there's still things that we need to learn, still
Yeah,
things that we need to apply, still things that we need in our toolkit so that once we get it, we'll be able to sustain, and like just skyrocket. So I'm like, okay, I'm I'm patient with the process but not stagnant. So that's another thing too. I think some people may feel like being still is being stagnant, but it's not necessarily one and the same. Like be you could cautiously, prepare yourself for certain things. Um and although, people on the outside looking in may feel like, oh, y'all not doing nothing, but they don't know what's going on behind the scenes. They don't know the time that we spend, the hours we put in and developing product and services and, making plans. So, but that's fine. But I think everything happens in due time and in the right time. So I'm
100%.
okay with God's timing. So I think something that we probably could incorporate or try to make a better conscious effort of practicing daily is to when we make plans, ask God, like, is our plan lining up with his plan? And if
Mhm.
not, ask him to reveal, the next step that we should take, so that our plan is aligning with his plan.
Yeah. Yep.
Which I
Totally.
think we try to do that. I think we do a pretty good job of.
If you guys aren't doing it, I am. I am. I'm kind of new at this. I'm kind of 6 months in, but I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I've definitely seen a change in myself within myself. that I'm not really anxious for anything. God has the better plan for me. I could be wishing and hoping and looking at, like I'll take it for example, the space that we're kind of looking at. I'm not in a rush. If it's not, if that's not where we're supposed to be, who am I to stand in the way of anything that God has planned for Cafe Coco Latte? Look,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
whatever it is that you want to do with this, I am
Yeah.
totally fine with that.
Yeah.
And that actually came from a mentor of ours who just has that attitude when it comes to business. Like, you're not going to rush me into a decision to make a decision.
Yep.
I do want us to be able to also do, of course, at asking God, is this the right path for us to take? Is to, you know, understand where each person is coming from. Like, if
Hmm.
I say something, this doesn't mean, that's the, tear away the whole plan. This is just how I feel. I'm going to spread that out. So, yes, I think for sure we need to bring God into our decision making.
Yeah. And I think some things, that did just happen or just fall into place, or, we made these great connections with people. Those things I think have been ordained by God, like some of the relationships that we've formed. It's like, what are the odds that we would have connected with these people and that
Yeah.
they would be invested in our future and our success? It's like, so those type of things also I don't take for granted, and I don't look at it as something that we did.
No.
But I think we have to always be ready. They say if you stay ready, you don't got to get ready. So when the right opportunities come along, we can take advantage of them.
Mhm.
But we don't have to force a square into a round hole.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Let's see. Let's see. Sorry. Why why do you think um why do you think God reveals himself to us?
I think we spend a lot of time calling on them. You know, uh, asking for. I think as humans, we spend a lot of time asking God for the things that we want, and sometimes God reveals, like, hey, over here.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that, but I'm gonna give you these tools to walk this way. The tools I'm gonna give you will take you where you need to be. I may not reveal everything, but I'm gonna give you these tools and walk that way. So I think sometimes God reveals himself to put us on the right path, even though we may think the path is this. The path is, I want this job, I want to be with this woman, or I want to be with this man, or I want to go to this school, or I want to go to this, and God will reveal himself to say, no, this is it over here. Pay attention.
Mhm. I think he reveals himself because he loves us. You know, I think it's necessary. Um, he wants to have a relationship with us. I think sometimes too is almost kind of treated like, if I'm going through something, then God needs to be here. I think God needs to be here like every day, even when things are
Mm-hmm.
going great. Even
Absolutely.
when there's no problems. Like, I still want him here. I still want him, invited to everything I do. I don't know why this conversation always tends to drive me to tears, but I have some amazing people in my life who could like show me God. And I think he came into my life at a necessary time. It was, after losing somebody who like, when my cousin Claudia died, she was essentially supposed to be kind of like the person to be there for us when our parents pass.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think life took a path where it was just kind of like everything was up for grabs, and like whatever happens, like I don't really care anymore, and what living for what. And I think I got that idea. um Now thinking about it, um she was the person that told me to go back to school. And then I found my love for design, and then that led me to um wanting to design for a church. That then led me to having a relationship with God. So that was like my path with him revealing himself to me.
Yeah.
And it makes me cry because um I know he loves me.
Yeah.
Here I am thinking that life is just gonna like, what to do? I'm a mom, I need to take care of my child, and relationships may happen, they may not. But I think it was necessary for me to be in the spots that I was in my life in order to be a helpful hand to somebody else, in order to see God, in order for him to reveal himself to me. I've always been curious about the topic, but didn't grow up in church, didn't have the background of knowing the Bible and everything. So yeah, that was my path, and that's why
I think that's a beautiful answer. I definitely think that God reveals himself to us because he loves us.
Mhm.
That is the most simplistic answer, but I agree with it 100%. Like, because he loves us, he's actually giving us everything that we need, you know, for our personal health, our wealth, our every, you know, function that we have as a human being. um, God gives us the knowledge, the wisdom, even the ideas. I think when we realize every good and perfect gift comes from above, like our talents, our ideas, all of those things are, coming from God. And yes, He loves us. He wants to see us win. He wishes above all that we prosper and be in good health. So how do we do that? Um, you know, I think when, life circumstances or whatever, chaos, trauma, whatever comes our way, it is, imperative to take a moment to realize, yeah, God loves me. None of this is happening to me because God doesn't love me or he
Mhm.
wants to hurt me or harm me. These are things that happen in life because it, life experiences, unfortunately, are not all, great. But
Mm-hmm.
we can take the good with the bad, or we can appreciate the good but not so good. Um, when we not only acknowledge but accept God's love for us. And it's like we even know how the story ends. We know we win. So it's like if we can always keep that at the forefront, even when we lose loved ones, when we get unfavorable diagnosis, when we lose a job, whatever. It's like whatever happens in this course, in this journey of life, God loves me. It's gonna be sometimes that I may not understand, or I feel physical pain, spiritual, emotional pain because of whatever is going on around me. But I think the love that God has for his people is the greatest love story ever told. Um, so even if we struggle with, feeling loved in relationships, friendships, whatever, it's like God loves me. He's gonna put people in my life that if the person whom I thought should be the one to show me the type of love that I'm looking for, yearning for, whatever, he's gonna put the proper people in my life. If the quote unquote mean people just don't have the capacity for whatever reason. Because they have, like we were talking about parenting and all that. Parents, before they're parents, they're individuals. And unfortunately, not every parent is equipped to, parent, or um, even a sibling may not show up in the way that you think a sibling should show up, but then you meet other people, outside of your nuclear family or whatever, that may be a sibling like figure or a parent like figure.
That's
um
definitely a fact. Like I've, experienced that where it's like maybe I'm not getting it here, but I could get it over here.
yeah.
And people who have revealed themselves to be closer to me than, people you would most expect.
Hmm.
So I think that just thinking about God removing people and bringing people in, I think sometimes we even try to block that because we think we know better. Like, no, this
Hmm.
person, I don't ever want to talk to this person again. And God is like, nah, that person is supposed to be with you for more than a season. Or it might be
Hmm.
someone where you're like, no, this person needs to be my, in my life, or this person needs to be my whatever.
Hmm.
Whether it's a counselor, whether it's a teacher or mentor or whatever. And sometimes guys like, yeah, no, I'm gonna bring somebody else. This ain't the person. I got somebody else for you. Maybe that person just is there for a reason or a season, maybe to teach you something or to just be around for a season. But yeah, or a few seasons. So
Right, right.
Yeah.
I also think, like, as spiritual beings, as being connected to God, it's important that we exhibit God-like qualities. Like, of course, we're never going to be perfect. We're not going to be we're not going to be God. But for some people, or for those who are not necessarily who haven't accepted God in their life, you might be the example or the only God that they see, or they may see something in you that brings them to want to have a relationship with God. So how we present ourselves and how we interact with other people, um, there should be something that somebody can glean from.
what would
Like,
you consider to be God-like qualities?
I think, like, if you, like we just said, God reveals himself to us because he loves us. I think if you show love to people, maybe even when you feel like they don't deserve it, you know, when you are doing things from the heart, like what's from the heart reaches the heart, um, not for any, recognition. Like, if you do charity, do it because you're doing it out the goodness of your heart, not for the gram, not to be like, look what I did. I helped somebody. But those type of things, like, um, you know, if you have connection with somebody that maybe is not in a good situation, like say be a mother to the motherless, like if you can be a mentor, can be a mother figure in a child's life, those type of things I think reveal the love of God inside of you. Like, but even it doesn't even have to be to just to charity. I think the way you interact and show up in every relationship, like being ethical at work, being loving to your friends and family, and being genuine and authentic, and really being invested in the lives of the people that you claim you love.
Shelly, what do you think is God-like qualities?
I think all the things that Deonna mentioned, I tend to disagree with the do it for the gram thing. I've seen so many people get helped online. And let's face it, I mean, the internet is something that people do every day, I think that sometimes that those things kind of make the world go around. Because if somebody posts something and it's like that person may have ill will behind it, somebody else might see it and start their own foundation. You know what I mean? Or um show, like when we were talking about the random acts of kindness, people kind of doing stuff for, and this is my essentially my answer to that question. People doing stuff when they don't think God's watching. Like, to me, I think that's living your life God like. You're not hurting anybody. You are you have a personal relationship with God. I try not to look at too much at what other people are doing to, say what is God like, what is not.
Mm-hmm.
It almost to me sounds a little judgy, but for me, I'm like, if somebody posts something online and then they're showing their gratitude or they're showing that they're doing something for somebody and it's nice, so what? That might somebody else watching that could be a life changer for them.
Right. I'm all about what's the
Mark
intent behind it.
Kelly talking to, because I realized that the internet, while it does some stanky negative stuff, it does some really positive things as well.
I agree. I think
I
it's the
think
intent behind it. Like, if you are a person who, are doing some charity act, whoever is receiving the charity, they'll still receive the services or whatever that you're providing that they needed. But if your intent behind it is just to, get a pat on the back, but not that you really have a genuine interest in helping people, and it's more exploitive. Whether I don't care whether that's because you put it on Instagram, or even if you just go around, bragging to your friends and family. I think you're kind of missing the point. But I don't. I'm not against social media, but if like if there's a big food drive, I've seen people, post a food drive or feeding the homeless or whatever. I think I don't know. It's kind of I think it's a thin line between still making sure that the people have dignity, because maybe they don't want to be seen on social media. Maybe they feel like they wouldn't want that image of where they're at in life to be displayed, you
Mhm.
know.
I know
So
that has definitely happened. Like, there's a famous TikToker that I follow, and he was getting a really bad rap because he was showing the people, on the internet, but and was still helping the people at the same time. And the homeless person was like, "Well, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have the internet. You just helped me, so that's all I really care about." So
mm-hmm.
I think even with the ill will behind something that somebody else is doing, um, what comes from that to me is more important than the singular person doing the singular thing that might be bad. I see a lot of people post food drives and stuff like that too. Um, there's a pastor that I follow that posts food drives, and I don't even live in the same state that he lives in, and I would share his posts. Well, the reason was not just for drivers by to see them come through. The reason was to be like, maybe that might be a good idea for my pastor or a pastor here to do, or somebody to see that this person is doing this amazing thing. Shelly, why don't you start that thing? Like, sometimes I think evil intents can create, um, because even like in random acts of kindness, like that first person, what if they do it and it's with ill will behind it? But the 50 cars that did it after them had a whole different attitude. To me, I think, oh, so what? For the first car that did it.
This makes me think about, I think it was, I don't know if it was last winter or a couple winters ago. It was a guy who he would post videos of him helping the homeless in Chicago.
Mm.
And it was a video of him walking through the snow, and he picked someone up and carried them. And,
Mm.
people, and he had been doing this for years, just like feeding the homeless, bringing them food. People started to turn on him, like, "Oh, you just posting these videos and blah blah blah," just trying to, I guess, shame him. But he inspired someone else to help, and it was a woman. I don't even know if her name was ever really revealed, but she ended up buying a bunch of hotel rooms,
Mm.
motel rooms in Chicago, so like some of the homeless people could get off the street. I think it was like going to be one of those cold snaps we get here in Chicago, unfortunately. And they kind of met through that, and she like I think she gave like 29 or some odd amount of motel rooms, and I'm like, that video sparking someone else to do something is like, you know, awesome, but I think it does have to do, even if someone has bad intent, they could call someone and be like, that person was wrong. I'm going to fix it and do something right, and do something nice to help people, because of that person's bad intent. Everybody doesn't have the right heart, and, having ill intentions isn't godlike, but I think if it sparks some sort of positive change in others, I think it's a good deed.
Yeah, yeah. So I think anything that I do, I hope that I'm doing it with the right intentions. So one of the things that we pray, or which is taken from scripture, is to create me a clean heart, renew within me a right spirit. So I'm saying, God, check me too. If I'm doing something under the the pretense of I'm doing this to show the God in me, but really I'm just got an ego thing going on and it's gonna pump up my ego, then check me on that. Make sure that my intentions are good, that I really am doing the things that I'm doing out of my heart and with the right intent. And there still may be somebody who is critical of me and saying, oh, she's just doing that for whatever, XYZ reason. So yeah, for each individual, I think I was the point I was trying to make is to just do things from the heart, not
Oh, for sure.
um for you know
Thank you.
accolades. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's easier to do the wrong thing. It's harder to do the right, and some
Hmm.
for some people, but um yeah,
Yeah.
God is definitely present in any good deed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, whether you are.
And I mean, and I think is if I don't, I mean, I can take correction from anybody, but if God checked me on something, then it is forever and consistently checked. Like, you know, one sermon that Pastor Lisa preached like years ago that always stuck with me was, if if you're unsure of who you are, spend time telling God who He is, and He'll reveal to you who you are, the good, the bad, the ugly, so that you can make those necessary changes. Um, and I think that's very true. Like, so even if you find yourself feeling unsure of the next move to make, or if you feel like you're stuck in a situation or whatever, I think when you know even if you just take time, whether you verbally say it, think it in your mind, say it in your prayer, write it in a journal, whatever, if you start saying all the things about God, like God is good, God is love, God is patient and kind, and all these things, um, you can kind of see where you measure up, or what those qualities are that you feel like you're for yourself, you want to see outwardly. Like, I think sometimes too we're bound by fear. Like, some things we don't do because we worry about how people are going to perceive us or what they're going to think about us, even if it's something positive. Like, oh, if I start saying that I could mentor the youth, like, are people gonna feel like, what are your qualifications to mentor, or this to that, whatever negative self talk you give to yourself. So, but in that time of um just thanking God for who He is and acknowledging what He is and all the many faceted things that He is, it'll also let you know what is like God in you and what you need to, change and what you need to embrace.
Facts.
Yeah.
I was just reflecting back on that statement, like facts.
Yeah. How do you feel God reveals truth to us? Like what, or yeah, even if I rephrase that and say, what helps you to feel like something is something that you know to be true or for sure?
I don't think I quite understand the question.
What helps us like know something is for sure? Like how
Mm-hmm.
us know
Or
that
truth,
God is
accept something to be a truth for you. Like,
I think I just feel it in my gut. When I know something is a truth, it's just an internal thing. It's just right here in the gut, and I know it's the truth. And there's no way I could be shaken off of that foundation of knowing that it's the truth. And that's maybe, the discernment that God has placed in me. But when I know it to be a fact or a truth, it's just in that gut.
yeah. Like if it's involving say me and another person, like I try not to concentrate so much on that other person and just concentrate on myself. Like what are you what have you seen from this point to make you feel like this is what I know is the ultimate truth? I think sometimes too you gotta sit with things. Um you gotta pray about it. You have to um ask for help. Like I'm not getting a good understanding of this, so I'm asking for help to get a better understanding. So help me.
Help me.
Help me understand what that truth truly is. But if it's something internally with my own self, um I feel like Bianca said, with just your gut, like you just know, like this is me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm. Yeah, some people would say the gut, the subconscious, the still small voice, the inner whatever, is our connection to God. It is, you know,
Which
um,
makes me think that
ways in which we say it commonly, like
mhm,
intuition or all
mhm.
of that, really is God. Um, it's just a matter of, do we take heed to it? Are we in tune with it?
Which makes me think
Do
that more people have a better relationship with God than some tend to say that they do. People that to me like nothing excites me more than a person who has that, and like I'm out with people who have this very like knowing way about like I'm gonna move this way and this is why I'm gonna move this way, and I'm like, to me I feel like those people who may not be church goers or even Bible readers, I think those people may have an amazing relationship with God and not even know it, just because they lean within that voice. They hear that voice. I know this is my gut. I know it's something that I should be doing. Um, and not that I'm saying don't have a personal connection with God, don't go to church, don't read the Bible, do what you think is best for you. But I think those people also have divine insight as well.
Yeah, I think you could be a spiritual person and have relationship with God outside of being a member of the church.
Mm-hmm.
The uh the being a member of a church or having like some spiritual structure should only, be additive to maybe your growth, your understanding, or
I passed through
it's
on
not
people.
a it's not a it's not a requirement, but it's also not something that we should, just neglect
I thought
to.
that my pastor wouldn't be happy to hear that I said that, so I need to get back.
No, I mean, any pastor would say, like, yeah, salvation is one thing, your relationship is another. So if you desire to study and know, and know things on a deeper level, or I guess confirm what you feel, confirm what you know, that's where the church and the Bible and assembly of Christians and all that can come together and be beneficial. But yes, so it's levels to everything.
Yeah.
It may be a little more basic level, when you don't incorporate everything. But I just want it all. I want as much as I can take, as much as I can handle. And but yes, being a part of a church isn't solidifying your relationship with God. It could, because it can be a mechanism by which you grow and all that. But you could also have a relationship with God and never step.
I think that's the beauty of it. I think that's the beauty of God. He placed us here with a mind to think of how you want to go there. And I think when he sees that you need help, he does step in. He does reveal himself. Sometimes through other people, sometimes through
Absolutely.
But for that personal journey, for somebody to take it with a personal journey behind it, whether it be spiritual or within a church, to me that's just the beauty of God. He didn't even tell us that we need to love him. He didn't even tell us, and he still loves us.
Yep. I think going back to what you were saying earlier, um, I think also it's taking the time to not only hear the revelation that's coming to you, but to take action on it. It's like, hearing stuff is one thing, but to take action on that revelation is a whole nother.
Man.
I think, things could be revealed to you. And, it's all about the action that you put behind said revelation. Because then that revelation is going to keep coming to you.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe you ain't get it the last time, but here you go. Yeah. Here it is again. You still ain't got it. So it's putting the action behind the revelation. But yeah.
And my fear is like that running out. Like, it's only so many times I'm gonna tell you.
Oh, I hope you don't give up on me.
And I'm like, even if that's not the intent of the good grace will run out.
Yeah.
It does. I mean, it definitely scares me into a lot of things for me with action. It's like, all right, it's only so many times I'm gonna let you keep saying you want to get this house. I want to get this house.
For sure.
Unless like my mom. My mom to me for sure is one of those people who she's not, she doesn't read the Bible every day. We didn't grow up. She grew up in church. But I think, over time things have happened in her life that caused her to not to be a believer, but in a different kind of way.
Yeah.
And but to me, she's one of those people that she may have a closer relationship than what she thinks that she actually does. Because sometimes I'll be like, "Ma, is that you? Did you just say that?" So yeah. He's amazing.
Well, I think the goodness and the beauty of God is that the personal experience. So, however that looks like for you, or each individual, as long as you are walking in your truth and your divine purpose, you stay connected to the principles of God. If you seek revelation, is there for the taking. The Bible tells us to seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all other things will be added. So whatever it is that you want to pursue, to do, to, dive into, we talked about, things that we would like to do. I think all things are possible. Um, it just takes time, patience, work, whatever, and spending time with God to for Him to reveal Himself, His purpose, His plan for your life, and then you
I
know.
agree with that. I feel like we all have a revealing season. It may not be the beginning of the year, like a lot of people, focus on the beginning of the year as their revealing season. It might be in August for you, it might be in December for somebody else, it may be in July. But when you keep getting these reveals, you're washing dishes and this thought pops into your head, there might be God. When you're
Mm-hmm.
like walking down the hallway, and you get this thought, it might be God. So take a moment when you keep getting these revelations to sit back, to take heed and take a moment to, I think you said earlier, be still and, work through it
Mm-hmm.
and come to your own understanding of not just your truth, because your truth might be,
Different from
jaded
somebody
in what you
else's.
think.
Mm-hmm.
It's God's truth.
That's true. Yeah.
What God's truth is for
Mm-hmm.
all of us, and not just because I think a lot of times as humans we have a tendency to think, well, this is what I think, and I've been wrong a lot. There's been times I'm like, man, I thought and set back something, which is probably God,
Mm-hmm.
has said to me, you know what, Bianca, you could have did that differently, or you could have
Mm-hmm.
said that differently. So I think a lot of times it's getting out of God's way and hearing His truth versus holding on to your own truth.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, and I think all that the scriptures and the written word of God do is, confirm and enlighten. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I've been pondering over this thing, and then this one scripture, it may be made up of 10 words, has
Mm-hmm.
enough power to get me beyond this hump or, what I see as the impasse or whatever. And
Nana,
it's
what's
like
the story of the guy of the man and the tree? Do you know that Bible verse?
the man in the tree.
Yeah, the man who climbed in the tree to get God's attention. Do you know that story?
I don't think so.
So
Well,
there's a story in the Bible. I'm gonna find out the name. I don't know, but I'm gonna find it. Let me try to get it before we start this. But the premise of the story is he's a thief. He's a thief. He is supposed to get a certain amount of money from people for taxes, and anything extra that he gets, he can keep. And in the Bible, the story goes, Jesus is on earth and he's coming into town and he's gonna speak to a bunch of people. The man gets in the tree to get God's attention. He's like, God, I'm up here. See me. I'm in this tree. Hello. And he's like, the people in the town know that this guy is like a thief. He steals things. Um, and so God's like, Jesus is like, I want to come to your home. And everybody's like, how dare, like, why do you want to go to his home? He's a known liar. He's a known thief. This is Luke chapter 9, Zacchaeus.
yeah, I'm looking at it now.
Okay.
Luke 19, 1 through 10.
Hmm. So everybody's like, why do you want to go to this person's home? This person, like, he's just trying to get your attention. He's not a believer. Why do you want to go to his home? And the basic premise that I got from the story was, it's not the attention of God that you have to seek. Like, you don't have to get in this tree and say, God, I'm here. Like, he's here for us no matter what. And no matter what you've been through, you can still receive the love from God. So if it we everybody gets up every day and sins. We all do. Everybody sins. But God still loves us, and he still loves us enough to reveal things to us. That's why I try not to judge anybody. Like, if your walk in life with God is X, Y, and Z and 1, 2, 3, and mine's is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Who cares? Who cares? The important thing is that you don't have to seek it out. God knows that you're here. Even if you don't climb up to the highest tree to reveal yourself, He can still see you.
Oh yeah. So I read that, I don't know, maybe I've heard this story before, but it's not one that sticks in my brain. But yeah, and it's like
It's not a popular.
Jesus,
Not a popular.
Jesus, God, the Holy Spirit is not just here for people who are already saved or who are already doing everything right. He loves us all. First of all, nobody's doing everything right, but that
Mm-hmm.
story is like Jesus is here for the lost too. So even there's plenty of stories in the Bible of individuals who um, were probably looked at as menace to society, who were able to turn from whatever, like that character wasn't he wanted to be seen, but he wasn't really trying to be saved. So that can happen too. I mean, sometimes people, even like in the church, might want to be in the church because it's the popular thing to do, or they want to be seen as the lead singer or whatever, but they're not really um keen on the relationship, but they might mess around and get caught up
Mm-hmm.
in, a relationship that, even if that wasn't what they were initially seeking, God can reveal himself to the lost, to the lame, to the, person who's like, I ain't got time for that. Um, and reveal to who you really are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I say all the time, even my brother, who's a pastor now, when before he, became a pastor, when I was living in Maryland, I would invite him to church. I say, you were gonna come to church with me? I'm cooking afterwards. He would just be like, what time is dinner gonna be ready? Like, he wasn't trying to go to church with me. He was like, at that point, like, I don't know. I think at one point he was saying he was an atheist, or that he didn't necessarily believe what we believed or whatever. Um, and he initially started going to church because he went to church with somebody he was dating. I don't think his intention was to become, lead pastor, running the pulpit, but he just was being respectful to the person that he was dating. Her parents were pastors of a church, and he was like, I ain't into this, but since she want me to go meet her parents, I'm gonna go. But sometimes when that revelation happens, um, and that fire gets ignited, who knows what that could lead to.
Yeah, and I think that goes with the story that Shelly was saying, that your path might be different than my path.
Mm-hmm.
He took a whole path of, I don't believe this, and now, look where he is. And,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it might be somebody who don't start going to church until they're 60.
Absolutely.
At some point they're there, or, whether they go to a physical church or watch it on TV, or sit at home and just read the Bible and pray.
Yeah.
Like, your relationship doesn't have to, there is no boxes to check on your
No.
relationship with God, and how it should be modeled. Like, oh, if you don't go to church, then you're not a believer. No, it's as long as you establish that relationship is what counts at the end of the day. And you know you can still have your revelations anywhere.
Absolutely.
I don't want people to think
Yeah.
that fire and brimstone if you're not there. So
Mm-mm. I mean, especially now, who knew that the whole, COVID situation was going to happen? For a period of time, everybody was going to bedside Baptist, as they say, the
mhm.
virtual church experience. But even without that, it doesn't. That doesn't dictate your, whether or not you get your ticket into heaven. Whether you was there every Sunday or one Sunday, or
Mhm.
no Sundays. It is the the relationship and the acceptance. Like,
Sure.
do you accept Jesus Christ or God in whatever form, whatever religious practice you believe in, but do you accept the principles and try to follow them? What do you believe? What's in your heart?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that being all, does anybody? Let's just go around and say everybody's like final statement on the topic.
You like final statement like the police.
Or what's your takeaway from today's episode, or your final thoughts that you want to share with
I think I kind of already said it. Your revealing season can happen at any time, any place, whether you're washing dishes or vacuuming. It could be anywhere. You could be in the car driving, looking at Christmas lights. You could be in TJ Maxx. So it don't matter. Huh?
I say you say all the things that you do.
I know.
You could be walking through Home Goods and get
it can happen anywhere, any place, anytime. You just have to be open to hear it and open to accept it, and walk in God's truth and not your own. Sometimes you have to be not only willing to listen, but willing to move in that action that God is handing to you. Like, oh, this was revealed to me. Let me walk in that action. That's all I got. That was my takeaway.
Yeah. Mine was you don't have to carry everything. You don't have to carry even the burden of not knowing. Like if you don't know, it's okay to ask for help. Lester said in part 1 or 2 of relationship goals. That's one thing that people don't do enough of. Ask for help. You know what I mean? If you're looking or seeking for God to reveal something for you that you can't, hear it, ask for help. Ask for understanding. And if reading the Bible is something that you would even consider to do it. Like some of the stories, while like I said, like we said, one person can hear a verse and another Deonna said one person can hear a verse and another person can hear a verse and gets totally different things from it.
Yeah.
I think that is the beauty in God's love. He loves us all individually, and it's here to help. You gotta ask for a way to get to him.
Yeah. Tap in, plug in.
Tap in on the love.
Yes, God loves us. He presents us the opportunities, and He wants us to win. He's for us. He's more than the world against us. So we are not waiting on God. God is waiting on us. So get in tune. Until next time,
keep it brewing.